our first recipient, Mya Estebo. And but first we're going to start out the day. You've got on your handout. We can read this land statement that we put together. The land where we gather today, Dijope, is part of the homeland of the Ho-Chunk people. The Christian church was complicit in the forcible removal of indigenous people through the doctrine of discovery from 1452, further adopted by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1823, Johnson versus McIntosh. We renounce this history, humbly lament all harm done, and honor the presence and persistence of the Ho-Chunk. We commit to reparative actions, including caring for the prairies, gardens, woods, and waters of this land. Okay, so our first Madison College recipient is Mya Estebo. Is it Estebo or Estebo? Estebo. Estebo. Okay, thank you, Estebo. Many different ways to pronounce it. Okay, so why don't you come up here and we'll get you started. Thank you. Just make sure that's close to your mouth. Okay.
Ha, hainipi, hijanki shana hinikaragiwi. Ho-Chunk rajra, hokawas maniga hingaire, egi maichte rajra, Mya Estebo ga hingaire. Hamta egi raji wira wa inig nampwi. Good morning, everyone. I greet you all. My Ho-Chunk name is Hokawasmani, and my English name is Mya Estebo. It is a great honor to say that I am a member of the Ho-Chunk Nation. I am an undergraduate student at Madison College, pursuing my associate's degree in human services. I would like to take a moment to thank Mauna, the creator, for bringing us together today. I would also like to thank all my family that traveled to be here with me today. I am exceedingly honored to have been selected for the Madison Christian Community First Nation Scholarship. I would like to extend my gratitude to Rebecca and the Madison Community Christian Church for this amazing opportunity. It's not only a privilege to be recognized for my efforts in my education career, but also an indescribable privilege to be able to represent my Ho-Chunk people on behalf of the land acknowledgement reparations that have made this scholarship possible. With the support and encouragement towards my education, I continue to humbly learn from these experiences, along with the community's generosity, to which I am incredibly grateful and truly honored. Before I touch on a few personal key points that have influenced my education and career goals, I do want to preface that some may find the topics that I discuss triggering. If you need to step out, please feel free to do so. There's no doubt about the importance of cultural preservation. This, rightfully so, has been a prominent topic within my Ho-Chunk community for as long as I can remember. Throughout my life, the message of keeping our culture alive has been conveyed to me in a variety of avenues, ranging from simple to drastic measures in my family and my community. A few examples of moments that come to mind when reflecting this thought are being told, sometimes scolded, on how ceremonies should go, how our way of life is supposed to be lived, and a do as I say, as I do way of teaching. As a young adult, reflecting on these moments, I began to realize that the message that these moments were intentionally supposed to teach me merely began to paint a much larger picture in my mind. It began to demonstrate a do as I say, not as I do type of living that contradicted the words that were being taught. This picture encapsulated just a sliver of emotional tendencies and generational trauma that my people still carry and pass on to our future generations. Along the way, skewing our thoughts and teachings into an unintentional, hurtful way of doing things. These moments of reflection began to guide the way that I thought and highlighted painful, unhealed moments in my own life. As I began to explore my mind's new, profound portrait, I started to unravel my own unresolved trauma. When I was 5 years old, my father died of an overdose. Being that I was so young, too young to embrace the emotional baggage that grief is known to carry, left trauma to subtly creep into my adolescent years. This left me feeling confused and emotionally broken for a long time. As I grew, I began to realize the sad reality of being far from the only Ho-Chunk kid that has had substance abuse touch their life. This reality goes hand in hand with the unresolved trauma that can very easily lead to self-soothing through distraction. Avoidance may feel safer than change. Higher rates of substance abuse, mental health issues, suicide, as well as lower life expectancies and educational outcomes are just a few proven normalities within Ho-Chunk and Native communities as a whole. Yet my passion for advocating for change in my community is strong. These moments of reflection perpetuated my mindset to face the uncomfortable, hurtful truths of my past in order to begin breaking down those trauma loops. Finding myself, or more so, discovering my identity, began to uncover my interest in the underbelly of generational normalities in my Ho-Chunk people. By pursuing both academic and professional development opportunities, my goal is to address issues that lie between those generational normalities and change. Educating, acknowledging, and talking about mental illness is how I believe we as people can begin to take the next step into keeping our culture, language, and identity alive. Thank you.
Now open for any questions. Can you hear me okay? Any questions that you might have for Mya this morning?
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
Can you
being
tell
here.
us about learning your native language,
Yeah,
please?
for myself, learning my language as a kid, it was more so being commanded in Ho-Chunk, the small, just the small one-word lines of like, stand up, sit down, let's go, those types of things. As I got older, my sister, my older sister, Hasoni, she kind of inspired me with her passion in language and paved the road for me and my younger siblings to have that interest when it wasn't necessarily shown in our younger years. And my language journey now in my adult life, I find it intimidating, just to be quite honest with you. Our Ho-Chunk language is very hard to learn, and like mentioned in my speech, sometimes teachings weren't necessarily conveyed in the kindest way, so it, in turn, took me a while to find that interest and once I found who I was and where I wanted to go, it helped me propel into learning language. And now I'm more so like learning on my own terms and still listening through my sisters and my family, and listening even when it's the moments that aren't intentionally meant to teach. So I'm just always listening, always learning. So especially during ceremonies, our traditional ways, just things of that sort. Thank you for the question. That's a good.
So are there any online resources or any formal classes through the Ho-Chunk?
Yes, there
Nation?
is. It's more of a curriculum-based program. We do have pathways. It is online. I believe they are opening classes, their winter classes here, I believe this coming week or next week. That's going to be Ho-Chunk Academy. I believe it's HOOCAK academy.org or .com, if you'd like to check it out. There's also several other resources on there that you can print out. There's coloring books, lots of different great resources on there. But thank you for the question.
Can you tell us some of the courses you either have been taking or plan to take at Madison College?
Yes, my fall semester, I took Issues in Addiction. I'm blanking. I'm so focused on starting school this week that.
How about this coming semester?
Yeah, I'm taking Intro to Psychology, Counseling Addiction. I'm taking social change. There's one more. I should have had this written down. I'm sorry.
So I have a follow-up question
Yeah.
with that. Are you a part-time student and working as well, or?
Yeah, I'm actually full-time student, full-time employee as well.
What portion of schooling and your housing is covered by our scholarship?
Yeah, what portion of your schooling is covered by the scholarship?
My portion of schooling, so the scholarship is directly funded to the MATC's finance portal, and then that directly goes into my tuition bill, and so I don't necessarily see any of the distributions right away. It goes directly to my courses, and then if there's additional funding left over, then it directly gets deposited into my account. And I like to budget that out for my school supplies, my gas, my anything you could think of, food, backpacks, anything in my daily life. It's honestly an amazing privilege to be able to have this scholarship. Thank you.
About how much a semester costs?
Depending on which courses you're taking and what you're majoring in, I believe a single course can range from about like $500 to maybe $1,000, depending on the credits that you can earn from it. So
We were told that it's $1,500 per semester is the scholarship award,
oh, okay.
and that covers roughly the cost of tuition for a part-time student. So
That-
kind of 2 full courses. But as you mentioned, not all courses cost the same amount. So anyway, that's what we were told.
For myself, I can tell you for this upcoming semester, for 4 courses, 12 credits, I believe it is $2,100 for this coming semester.
So, do you live near the school, and where did you grow up?
I do live near the school. I live on the east side, right off of Lean Road. Pretty close to MATC campus. All my classes are at Goodman South, so they're a little bit farther away, but I don't mind the drive. I grew up in Tomah, Wisconsin. Actually, it's about an hour and a half away. Very small town, way smaller than Madison, but I moved here roughly 2021. 2026 marks my 6th year here in Madison. Not all in order, but something about Madison's always draws me back.
The community center, or?
Yes, that's correct. The Dejo Pochita, Madison Community Building. I am the community outreach specialist. What happens there? Lots of events. My day is, I'll say it's not consistent. There's lots of things coming up, and I'm always ready to tackle whatever comes my way. We help a lot of tribal members that come in. We're a liaison for our tribal members and their support services. We welcome anybody in the community and happily help them with any resources that they need. But we specialize in tribal support.
Bit of the office and the setup. I'm suspecting that not everybody in the room knows just Ho-Chunk layout across the state without a reservation. There are multiple of the community centers. Is this right?
Yes, that's
correct. Can you
correct.
just say some of that? Thank you.
Yeah. I believe, I don't want to say the wrong number, so I'm not even going to say a number, but we do have about, we have a community center in Wittenberg, Black River. We have the House of Wellness in Wisconsin Dells. We have our branch office here in Madison. The layout is somewhat the same across our community centers. They're not all of the same. They house different resources. Our branch office has an in-house nurse. We have a behavioral health clinician. We also have a tribal elder worker who helps our elders with transports, any services you can imagine. And then we also have our youth center on the other side of the building. And it's more so like an after-school service for Ho-Chunk youth as well as descendants and other tribes as well. Not all of our community centers have these in-house resources, but most of them do. The community center in Black River Falls and Wisconsin Dells House of Wellness, they have clinics as well, where our tribal members as well as descendants and other tribes are able to receive services as well.
My question is about how you would define the geographic home of the Ho-Chunk people. I come from La Crosse area, and so very much think of Black River Falls, Toma, and now moving here, the great history of this region with respect. So how would you define the geography of the Ho-Chunk?
I would define it as Wisconsin as a whole is Ho-Chunk land. We derived from Red Banks, now known as Green Bay, but our people trickled around all of the Wisconsin area, promenading in the areas that are recognized today. But now we're scattered all around the state, working to recognize these areas that we're prominent in. So I'm not sure if I answered your question. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Maya, so much for being with us today. I have some remarks too for kind of the second half, but are there any other questions? One more, yeah.
Since the Ho-Chunk don't have a reservation and are scattered in Wisconsin, how has it been organized or developed to maintain Ho-Chunk and the culture and the language if everybody's scattered and there's not a center?
That's a good question. That's something that we've kind of had to adjust to, and more like trial and error what works. We're still trying to, how would I say, find a way that works for everybody's types of learning styles. And like I mentioned in my speech, personally, I believe we need to focus on healing our mental health and healing our mind and body before taking in more information of our tribal and cultural ways, because sometimes in my experiences, they can coexist together. And this for me has made learning hard and difficult, but now that I have worked on myself, I am reaching out to these resources. We have resources online, and lots of community members, elders are amazing resources to reach out to. But with our past trauma and history, it's been difficult, to say the least, for the Ho-Chunk people to kind of get comfortable sharing this information again. And it's been a journey for each individual themselves. And everybody has their own story, so I think the trauma that they've endured through the years carries through the generations, and so it can be difficult for people to continue to share that information, especially if it's not received well. So I'm not sure if I answered your question. I'm sorry. Kind of started rambling.
If I could answer that question. Right here.
This is my grandmother. Oh my God.
Good morning. I'm very happy to be here. I think what you're asking is how are we all connected, since we're spread out through the state of Wisconsin. We do have a government. It's set up like the United States. We have representatives from each of the area communities in our state, and we have once a year gathering of, we call it our, what is it called? General Council. And it's a time when every area is able to bring concerns to what is ever, happening in their general area. And we together, we meet with all of our relatives, and our relatives are scattered throughout the state of Wisconsin, like Mya said. And we still communicate very well with each other, whether it's through Facebook or whether it's daily or monthly gatherings. Myself, I worked with the nation as a tribal elder general manager, and so I worked in both Toma and Wisconsin Dells, and as Mya was explaining, we have a real dedication to each other as far as addressing issues that come up in all of our areas.
Mya, if you're willing, could you talk a little bit about reparations and what they mean to you or to the community, and suggestions that you might have for other ways to move forward with reparations?
To me, reparations for me, it can become emotional, and it's something that I personally didn't see in my lifetime of the change within our Ho-Chunk people and our tribe as a whole. To be able to see the hurt and the history behind the Ho-Chunk people, but to see it be recognized today in our areas is a very powerful and humbling feeling, to say the least. My thoughts on going about it, I think, would continue to give Ho-Chunk people the space and the time and the attention. I think that actions speak louder than words. So I'm feeling that today, honestly. I'm very humbled and honored, and to be able to be here to represent the Ho-Chunk people is something, like I said, that makes me very emotional, and I'm very thankful. Moving forward, I think, like I said, bringing maybe representatives, historians, people with more knowledge about our history to educate about the past and what our plans are for the future and how to continue having that representation for our tribe along with other tribes within Wisconsin.
Would you introduce the family that is with you today?
Yes, I would love to. Right here in the front row, I have my Gaga, which means grandmother in Ho-Chunk, Carol Lostrip, and then my Choka, grandfather, Carl Lostrip. And then in the row behind them is my sisters. I have my Nunus, my older sisters. The left is Hasone Winga, Andrea. And to the right is Tema Salloway, my Nunu, my older sisters. And then behind them is one more sister. That one is my He-Chunk, my little sister. And her name is Peyton. And then I also have my sons, my nephews. My son's Ho-Chunk way in the back. And it's Booker and Bowie.
Thank you.
I just want to thank you for coming today, and I realize that, for someone who's had addiction and mental illness and trauma in her background, and then to come through that and want to help others into the future, I just admire you, and I am excited to see where all of this goes, because I can see that you have a spark and a light that is going to shine through. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for coming.
So maybe we'll pivot here a little bit, and I have a few comments to make, remarks. All right. Can you hear me okay? All right. Well, thank you, Maya. We are so grateful for you and for taking the time to be with us and share today. We wish you well in your studies, and we're thrilled that you were awarded the scholarship, so thank you. So now we're turning our attention to the details of the scholarship. Maybe not as interesting of topic, but maybe not, maybe. Anyway, in some ways I don't need to make any more remarks, it feel like. But it has been, you may know that next Sunday is the annual meeting, and at that annual meeting we'll be voting on the budget, and that includes a new line item for the ongoing support of the scholarship, and we're asking for your support of that. First, I wanted to take a moment to provide a little background on how we came to have a scholarship, and then the specifics of the scholarship and the new line item. The final sentence of our land acknowledgement statement reads, "We commit to reparative actions, including caring for the prairies, gardens, woods, and waters of the land." When the statement was approved 2 years ago at the annual meeting in 2024, many people asked us an important question. This is a wonderful statement, but what do you mean by reparative actions? Caring for creation, as we specifically list the prairies, gardens, woods, and waters, is deeply important. Stewardship of the land may be one of the most visible and meaningful ways we live out our commitment to reparative actions. We've been doing this for decades. A side note, I learned the following story from Martha Fry, as told by Dorothea Torstensen. Dorothea recalls talking to her friend Ada Deer. Are you all familiar with Ada Deer? At a gathering, and Dorothea mentioned to Ada that MCC was working on a land acknowledgement statement. Ada replied, "I sure hope MCC has not trashed the land." Dorothea said to Ada that she should stop by and see the MCC prairies, woods, and gardens. Unfortunately, Ada passed away before she was able to do that, but it was clear to Dorothea that Ada believed that perhaps the best way to honor the First Nations was to practice land stewardship. So the stewardship we do is very important. At the same time, our group felt strongly that reparative action should also include something specifically for the First Nations community, and feedback we received from members echoed this sentiment. As we explored possibilities and looked at what other churches were doing, St. Dunstan's in particular, we kept coming back to one idea: establishing a scholarship at Madison College. Most of you know that Madison College, or MATC, is a local community college with a strong reputation and a wide range of educational opportunities. Rebecca and Joanne both have ties to MATC, and that made it feel even more fitting. But did you know that MATC serves over 30,000 students across 7 campuses in South Central Wisconsin? Several hundred students identify as Indigenous or Native American. There's a tribal liaison officer on staff. There's a Native American Student Association on campus. They hold an annual powwow and a Native American art show. So all these things we learned about MATC were encouraging. So a little over a year ago, in late fall of 2024, we met with Brian Woodhouse of the Madison College Foundation, and we learned that there was no existing scholarship that we could just plug into or specifically supported Native students in the way we envisioned. So we asked, what would it take? And the answer was simple and clear. We needed $5,000. That was the minimum to establish a new scholarship. Last April, Rebecca, Joanne, and I brought the scholarship proposal to the leadership team, and they unanimously approved the creation of a new scholarship and authorized a special campaign to raise the $5,000, and also supporting adding a new line item in the budget beginning this year to sustain the scholarship over time. In May, many of you participated in that fundraising campaign. Together, we didn't just meet the goal, but we exceeded it. We raised $5,700. Because of your generosity, the scholarship was established in time for the fall semester. We are deeply grateful for the support of the congregation. So the scholarship is called the MCC First Nation Scholarship, and it is administered through the Madison College Foundation. Each school year, it will support one Native student. The current award is $1,500 per semester for a total of $3,000 per academic year for that student. As I mentioned, this amount roughly covers tuition for a part-time student. And we learned many Madison College students attend part-time, so it felt like, a meaningful and realistic starting point. Who's eligible? First, the student must be enrolled at least half-time at Madison College, have a minimum GPA of 2.0, and demonstrate financial need. These are standard criteria for all scholarships that are all foundation scholarships. Second, we added a specific requirement. The scholarship is for Native American students who can submit their enrollment number or identification card for a Wisconsin tribal or indigenous nation verified by the tribe. There are 12 tribal nations in Wisconsin, and we wanted to ensure the scholarship supports an enrolled member of one of those nations. The Madison College Foundation administers the scholarship. With each donation, the foundation retains a 7% administrative fee. In return, they promote the scholarship to eligible students, manage the application process, and select recipients using their established procedures. Our role is to define the criteria, but we're not involved in selecting individual students. So the big question, how will the scholarship continue to be funded? Excuse me. Beginning this year, the MCC budget includes a new line item called reparations. This line item is set at 0.5% of the total budget a little over $3,200 this year. After the foundation's admin fee, this amount will allow us to continue to offer that $3,000 scholarship each year, and that's our goal. So basically, we put in $3,000 each year, and $3,000 is awarded out. An important note, the scholarship fund is also open to additional contributions from individuals or organizations, and we're already seeing that generosity. For example, the Thanksgiving Eve service offering raised over $300, and that went to the scholarship fund this year. The MCC Opals Book Club also gave a special contribution recently. Several individuals have asked how they can give, and those details are included in your handout. I think it's on the back side of the flip side. It's also in the annual report, how you can do that. This additional support is very encouraging, and it gives us hope that we may be able to increase the award amount in the future as educational costs arise. And so it gives us flexibility. So next Sunday, we vote on the budget, and we ask for your support of this new budget line item. It is a concrete, ongoing way we can live into our commitment to reparative action. Thanks. So I'll open up questions on this or other comments.
Will Mya be eligible for another scholarship next year, or is it a one and done situation?
Yes, she will be. So it's not a one and done. So we wanted to make that clear. It's open to, there's no like line of study or field of study. It's wide open that way.
Wondering if we have, let's say we have $10,000 in there and we're only awarding $3,000, does that money accrue in our fund so that any interest would be accrued for sustaining to additional years?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think, and I don't know the amount to become like an endowed scholarship. That would be funded by the interest or the gains of that. The 5,000 that we put in, we don't have to keep 5,000 in, to keep the scholarship going. But if we don't put any more in, it just, once it runs out, it would be done. Okay. I don't know if that answered your question. I think the biggest, the flexibility as we maybe have individuals also contribute, as we've seen, is, we can increase the award, or perhaps, it's two students that we can support ultimately. But we wanted to have something that was sustainable, and that's how we started. I would say.
This question might be a little bit of a pivot, but back to Mya. Do you have plans for after Madison College, what you're hoping to do?
You're back up.
Yeah, after I receive my associates, I'm hoping to transfer to Whitewater to pursue bachelor's. I'm just kind of feeling out my courses now. I'm planning it so my credits transfer over if I were to transfer to UW Whitewater. Kind of keeping my options open to see potentially even UW-Madison. I'm not quite sure, so definitely still looking to go towards more education, depending on different major, but I think I'm definitely going to stick with human services for now, but yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the appeals of Madison College, was how you know, it was a great starting point for lots of students, and to then continue on, you know, to UW-Madison or other UW or other schools wherever. So that was a consideration. Well, again, I'm so grateful that you were able to be with us today. Let's give a big round of applause